Welcome to our first ever Himalayan Life YouTube Live Gala. My name is Heidi. I'm on the board of directors for Himalayan Life, and I am a friend and a witness and a sincere advocate for the incredible work that they're doing. This isn't exactly how we planned this evening. Instead of being in a theater with a small group of you, we're joining you live in the comfort of your own homes. The benefit of this is that people from across the city and across the province, across the country, and even across the globe are able to join us tonight. We won't be able to hear you laugh or clap or sense your emotion when we watch together some of the footage that we've caught to show you tonight. But we encourage you down below in the comments section to please leave your questions or your thoughts. And even now, we encourage you to comment on where you're watching us from. If we don't get to your questions live, there will be moderators answering your questions as we go. COVID has changed a lot of things in our lives and impacted many, many plans. And COVID-19 has been unrelenting in the lives of the children who live in Nepal. The Himalayan Life team has been working tirelessly to meet these new needs. And tonight you'll see video reports from some of the team on the ground working to meet these new needs. Tonight I'm excited to tell you that a generous donator has offered to match up to $125,000. So our goal of this campaign is to raise $250,000. You'll notice that the Himalayan Life website is posted below. At any time during this live broadcast, feel free to navigate to it and hit that donate button. We'll be updating you throughout the evening on our fundraising. And now, it's my great privilege to introduce to you the first film of the night. It's titled Arresting the Darkness. When the film's over, Daniel Burgi, CEO of Himalayan Life, will be standing right here to introduce the next film. And here it is, Arresting the Darkness.
Himalayan Life's mandate is to protect, nurture, and educate children in the Himalayas. I'm thinking here of street kids, I'm thinking of migrant worker kids. These are kids who really need a level of protection, nurturing, and education that their families or their communities cannot give them, cannot afford for them. That's where we come in. When I'm saying protect children, I'm first and foremost thinking of street children, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, also teenagers who live in the streets, who fend for themselves, who have to be responsible for their food, for their clothing, for where they sleep, for what they do all day long. And then there's unfortunately the drugs, glue sniffing, alcohol. It leaves a mark on their emotional, psychological, on their physical well-being, and that's where Himalayan Life comes in. We offer them a place, not just to come and eat, but a place where they feel safe, where they're being looked after, where they have a respite from the street life, where they can just be out of that usual way of life, even if it's for a short time. And when they choose, they can stay permanently with us. That's where nurturing comes into the picture. Street children who want to make that step away from the street, they can move in one of our street to school homes. Then we can really look after them more in a context like a real family would, with home parents who are really on to the well-being of those children, who know each of them individually by name, what their needs are, what their hopes, their anxieties, their fears are. Each and every one of the street kids has to deal with severe trauma, so we care for them. We nurture them back from not life to life. Education, I think, speaks for itself. It is with great joy that I think of our school in the Yangri Valley, in a place that was completely destroyed by the 2015 earthquake. Not one house left standing, no schools left. And now in this valley, as little as a few years after this catastrophe, we have a thriving school with over 200 students, a school for which we have set as its goal to be a model school, a beacon of light in the educational system in Nepal, where we want to demonstrate what it would look like if teachers are excited about their work and if students really can discover the joy of learning. And then, of course, this education for the families. We put quite a bit of emphasis on adult literacy, particularly moms or women, and so we see transformation in the entire family. Hygiene, the way the family works, that movement from not life to life, not just for the kids but for the entire family.
Good evening, everybody, and I'm adding my welcome to Heidi's. Thank you for joining us on live stream wherever you are. There are different angles from which we can look at the Himalayan Life projects. We have just seen in this video clip the SDG angle. The United Nations have defined 17 sustainable goals for development, goals such as zero hunger, no poverty, sustainable energy available for everybody. And it is good to know that, mostly unwittingly, Himalayan Life is directly contributing to 12 out of those 17 sustainable development goals. There are different angles, though. You could look at the Himalayan Life programs from the transformation point of view. That's probably the way I look at the programs. I'm interested in seeing positive, lasting change in the lives of children, youth, and families in the Himalayas. And there's yet another angle, the angle of light and darkness. How much light is Himalayan Life able to provide into the darkness of the lives of children, youth, and families in the Himalayas? How much darkness is being stopped? Darkness comes in various guises and shapes: poverty, lack of education, addiction, oppression, trafficking, and the list goes on. Hence the title for tonight, Arresting the Darkness. And you may have wondered what this really means. Arresting is a word in this context which we are actually borrowing from the world of mountaineering. It refers to a technique of stopping one's fall. And rather than me trying to explain that verbally, we have a video clip which shows you what it really means. The clip features Norbu Tenzing, who is the son of the first-time Everest summiteer Sherpa Tenzing, who together with his friend Sir Edmund Hillary scaled Everest some 50 years ago.
The first thing I learned was the self-arrest. It's the only way to stop yourself if you fall and begin sliding down a steep, icy slope. My father was a hero. Before he passed away, my father warned me about the dangers on Everest.
Arresting the darkness, stopping the fall, preventing complete disaster. The image of arresting the darkness, as we have just seen it in this clip, provides such a powerful picture for the work we do at Himalayan Life. As poverty, lack of education, and so on try to pull children and families into the abyss, our job is to stop that darkness, to arrest the darkness. I'm inviting you tonight on a virtual journey across the Himalayas with a number of stops at different Himalayan Life program locations. And I can promise that as we do this virtual journey together, that you will certainly learn more about the work of Himalayan Life and of how we do this thing of arresting the darkness. So please buckle up as we go on the first leg of our journey and travel to the south of Nepal. We are stopping by at Himalayan Life Chitwan, and please, as we are seeing how they work and what their programs look like, remember that image of arresting the darkness.
When talking about Nepal, people think of the mighty mountains, the Himalayas. But the fact is that Nepal is not just mountains. There is also this district, Chitwan, in the very south of the country, which is flat, just a few hills, jungles. People live in some little communities. They carve out an existence from small-scale farming, from fishing. These communities are fairly poor, not very educated, a little backward, so to speak. This is where we work as Himalayan Life.
Hello, namaste. My name is Lobson. म चाहिँ विशेष गरेर हिमालयन लाइफ चितवनमा विगत 3.5 वर्ष अगाडिदेखि बच्चाहरूको बीचमा काम गर्दै आइरहेको छु। विशेष गरेर यो हामी जुन क्षेत्रमा बच्चाहरूको बीचमा काम गरिरहेका छौं, यो बच्चाहरू चाहिँ एकदम आवश्यकतामा परेका बच्चाहरू हुन्। आवश्यकतामा भन्नाइको मतलब चाहिँ खान नपाएको, लाउन नपाएको भन्दा पनि यो बच्चाहरूलाई चाहिँ होलिस्टिक आवश्यकताको महसुस हामी गर्दछौं।
We join hands with communities, with schools, and with parents in that task. Here in Chitwan, this happens mostly by way of our arts and sports, our hockey programs in the middle of jungle clearings, and so on.
अनि ताकि एक दिन यो समाजले यी बच्चाहरूद्वारा चाहिँ यिनीहरू चाहिँ एकदम स्पेशल हुन्, यिनीहरू चाहिँ एकदम यो बच्चाहरू चाहिँ विशेष हुन् अनि यो बच्चाहरू चाहिँ यो देशको लागि एउटा असल नागरिक हुन् भन्ने देख्ने छ। त्यसकारणले हामी चाहिँ
I'm really overjoyed that we are not just helping a handout, but that we are helping in the sense of helping the Nepalese to transform their community.
The footage you just watched is from Chitwan. Chitwan is the jungle in Nepal. The last time I was there, I played hockey in amongst the trees with the children from the slum and watched a rhino walk in the streets. It is a very poor area. We had a question from one of the audience members, the people who are watching tonight, about what has changed specifically in the Chitwan since COVID has happened. And I can say that it was a very poor area when I was there. And COVID has increased the financial strain on that population exponentially. Here in BC, we understand the changing landscape of COVID regulations and restrictions, and it's no different in the Chitwan. In Chitwan, the team leader, Loveson, has changed course from providing recreational programs like hockey in the jungle to providing aid to relieve hunger. Loveson is joining us tonight to offer you a report from the field, and specifically from the Nepali jungle of Chitwan. So here is Loveson's field report.
Hello, namaste. I'm Loveson from Chitwan. I want to share the situation of Nepal. Millions Nepalese people who went Gulf countries, India's as well as other countries for the work. But most of the people, they lost their jobs because of the COVID-19 and returned back to Nepal. Those who were work in Nepal have also lost their many things. And now there are many unemployed people are in Nepal. If we see only 30-40 kilometers away from the city, there are many Chepang people seems to be hungry, poor, and needy. And they work hard, but the harvest is less. They build small houses near the jungles in slope area, and they live with huge family. And they are always worried about how to survive with the families. Himalayan Life Chitwan has distributed relief foods items about 200 families who are really needy, who are really poor, and when we look inside the city. There are many children on the street, and given this situation for the past 3 months, we have been feeding 30 to 35 children every evening. We Chitwan team are very thankful to your care, encourage and gracious hands that we want to continue to distribute relief goods, and we want to serve the street children in the coming days. Thank you.
Seeing children live on the streets is not an easy thing to witness. And there's something particularly vulnerable about girls who have been abandoned. During this season of increased vulnerability, I could not be more pleased to announce that Himalayan Life during the last year has opened a home specifically for these vulnerable girls in Pokhara. This home is specifically designed for them, to house them, to nourish them, and to provide education for them. So now, please enjoy with me some of the very first footage from this home, straight from Nepal.
Hello, Jai Masi. I'm Aksha Srimal. Yes, I'm Suki Kaman. We know that Nepal is male-dominated society, but our main focus is to break that chain and bring change on the society by how we look towards girls. While working, we have lost up some of the girls from prostitution and girls trafficking, so that main aim is to give them good security and quality education with homely environment. Especially thank you for our good team, because due to the good team spirit of Himalayan Life Nepal, every moment has been special towards our kids. Basic gardening training, life-related tasks, game, and personal care, cleanliness, read Bible, home talent show, home devotion, and sharing. It is really good. Thank you also.
And now we head on over to the Yangri Valley for our next site visit. This is the home to the Yangri Academic Center. Education all over the world has been disrupted, and Yangri and the Yangri teachers have been forced to get creative in order to address the education of the children there. This is particularly challenging since they do not have access to the internet and no TVs. The Yangri Academic Center has been a monumental accomplishment in and of itself over the last 3 years, from developing curriculum to building the buildings, making a dorm, classrooms, a cafeteria, and now they face the challenge of their students' disrupted learning because they cannot come to class. Tonight you'll hear a field report from one of the teachers there, speaking to how they have addressed this challenge for their students.
Hello everyone, my name is Sujata Mamdati and I'm a teacher. I'm teaching in Yangri Academic School. Yangri Academic School is situated in a very remote area of Sindhupalchok district, Nepal. COVID-19 has affected our school at a greater extent than any other city's school. Our students are not able to get any benefits of learning through TV, radio programs which is run by the Nepal government, because our student has no access to the TV and radio in their house. So our school started distributed teaching after a span of 3 long months. Our teacher walks miles every week to provide education to these children. So we started and we are doing distributed teaching in 5 villages, but we are still not able to conduct distributed teaching in Larke because of the geographic and weather condition. But we are trying our best to get our Larke students and to conduct distributed teaching in these coming days. Thank you.
The question has been asked, how do the teachers get to these villages? The truth of the matter is that they walk. And it's a kind of walk that's hard to imagine. I know because I've done it, and it's treacherous. Steep mountains, riverbeds, rock landslides. It's a hard, hours-long walk. We're moving on to the next film. In this one, you'll see Daniel, again, the CEO of Himalayan Life, speak specifically about Himalayan Life has broadly been impacted by COVID. We've titled the film Interrupted, because that is essentially what has happened to the programs at Himalayan Life. They were doing one thing, and their plans were interrupted. Please enjoy Interrupted.
So Himalayan Life's mandate is to protect, nurture and educate children in the Himalayas, and we're doing that through a whole variety of programs, such as our school in Yangri. A partnership with a school in the West where you see similar values. That was something that was on my mind.
It was solid, it was fun. Yeah, me and Lauren had a good time. I don't know what else to say, the teachers were amazing too. Kids were super focused and really respectful, it was awesome.
Just received word that PA is canceling their trip. By that I mean they have to head home early.
And then of course, the pandemic hit.
It's going to be a different world when we get off that plane in Vancouver.
In some ways, the group from PA was a little bit like a microcosm for everything that happened in our charity in preparation and then in the pandemic. People first, making sure everybody is safe. That's still our first mandate. Secondly, we do have the obligation, of course, to make sure that our programs continue in some ways. Now, I've used the word interruption before, and of course the programs have been interrupted. There's no question about that. Shortly after PA left, we had to close down the school.
We're still under lockdown due to COVID-19, and it's been a month since the children left school.
So what does that mean, and how do we continue? In Yangri for the school, this meant that we've really tried to stay in contact with all the families, even when the school was being shut down. And at the earliest possible moment, we reopened the school. Not the way we ran it before the pandemic, that wouldn't be possible, that would probably not make sense. But we're doing distributed teaching, whereby our teachers go to the villages, wherever we have a cluster, a bubble of kids, 5 to 10 kids, our teachers go and instruct the kids there. So much so, each and every child has at least 1 day of instruction per week. Chitwan is maybe the place in Nepal which is most negatively impacted by the pandemic in general. We have this interesting and very serious situation in South Asia that millions of people have lost their income and livelihood through the pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of migrant workers have returned over the last 6 months to Nepal with no savings, with no other jobs to go to. This is mostly felt so far in the south of Nepal, and people have begun to be hungry. There is need at a very, very existential level. So for Himalayan Life Chitwan, we simply decided to completely pivot away from those programs we used to do with the kids. We still go to the very same communities as we used to go before, but no longer with hockey equipment, but simply with relief items, food, rice, lentils, oil, sugar, salt, tea, stuff for survival, helping families to get through this crisis, because quite honestly, they might not otherwise. An interesting situation has really evolved in Pokhara for our Street Children program. The city administration shut us down. We were supposed to send the kids home, away from our homes, except they have no homes. The street would be their home. We had to find creative ways for keeping our programs open. We used to send the kids, we have some 70 kids in home care. These are kids who used to be on the street, are now in one of our street to school homes. We used to send those to two of the local schools. Local schools shut down. What do you do with 70 kids 24/7? You need to come up with some programs. I'm super thankful to our local staff that they simply decided to do school themselves. They have come up with the methodology, with the plan, have gone out of their way to source the books and everything, and now we're running school. Rather than shutting down, we really had to step up our program. So I guess what I'm saying is finding creative ways to continue programs and keeping that door open, so much so the interruption is an interruption and not a cancellation. That's highly important for us as a charity.
Arresting the darkness is the theme of tonight. Arresting in the mountaineering sense of the word, not the law enforcement sense of the word. Stopping the tumble, preventing the darkness from winning, stopping children, youth, families from being swallowed up by the vortex of darkness which comes in so many different guises: poverty, lack of education, trauma, abandonment, homelessness, substance abuse, unemployment, illness. And COVID has yet laid another layer of darkness on top of all of this. I would like to talk a little bit more about the new home for street and slum girls in Pokhara. First of all, I'm super excited that in the midst of COVID, this home has been started, that it has been possible to get it going. And I'm super excited that the home is run fully under Nepalese leadership, and that it is two women who just had it on their heart to do this work and who are heading up this important part of Himalayan Life's work. In order to give us a little more background on this work with girls, to better understand why it is so important to arrest this particular darkness, I brought the book that provides insight. It's by Patricia McCormick. The title simply Sold. The book is about the girl, and you will be guessing it already, a girl who is being trafficked from Nepal to India. The back cover reads, Lakshmi is a 13-year-old girl who lives with her family in a small village in Nepal. Though she is desperately poor, her life is full of simple pleasures, such as playing hopscotch with her best friend from school and having her mother brush her hair by the light of an oil lamp. That sounds like a life not so totally different from what we're seeing in the 13 villages in the Yangri Valley. But when the harsh Himalayan monsoon rains wash away all the family's crop, Lakshmi's stepfather says she must take a job to support her family. He introduces her to a distant aunt who tells her she will find her a job as a maid in the city. Glad to help, Lakshmi journeys to India. The book then tells Lakshmi's story in Lakshmi's own words, how she journeys from her village into a different land, in this case, India. She tells in her own words her feelings, her emotions, her experiences. It starts, of course, as it usually does, with the stepdad knowing somebody who knows somebody who has connections for job placement. It goes on with that somebody offering the family an advance on Lakshmi's future salary. In her case, it is 10,000 rupees, $120. Lakshmi then travels with her trafficker across the border to India. She has no papers, no birth certificate, no ID card, no passport. Not a problem. Maybe you recall the phrase in the interview with Oksa and Jyoti, where Oksa said, Nepal is a male-dominated society. Very simple. The trafficker simply passes off Lakshmi as his wife. No further questions asked. Do you have anything to declare? Just my wife. Oh, who cares? That's how it goes. And so she travels all the way to Calcutta, and then comes the moment when she learns the truth about her predicament. And I'm reading to you a small section from the book. I'm wiping the makeup off my face when the dark-skinned woman comes in. What do you think you're doing? She says. I'm going home. There's a mistake, I tell her. I'm here to work as a maid for a rich lady. Is that what you were told? Yes, I say, and now I'm going home. She scoffs. Home? And how would you get there? I don't know. Do you know the way home? She says. Do you have money for the train? Do you speak the language here? Do you even have an idea where you are? My heart is pounding like the drumming of the monsoon rain on the corrugated metal roof of our hut in Nepal. My shoulders are shaking as if I had a great chill. You ignorant, stupid hill girl, she says. You don't know anything, do you? I wrap my arms around myself and grip with all my might. But the trembling will not stop. Well then, she says, pulling her record book out from her pocket, let me spell it out for you. You have been sold to me. I own you. You belong to me. I paid a lot of money for you. And she opens a page in her book and points to the notation for 10,000 rupees. And now, she says, you will work here like the other girls until your debt is paid off. Sold. That's darkness. The book goes on, and I'll spare you the details. It's not an easy read, but if you're interested in this tragic fact that we have across South Asia, it's a book I can highly recommend. There's another small section I want to read for you. It's like a poem that Lakshmi is writing. I awake for a moment, unsure of where I am. I yawn and wait for the scent of hearth smoke and baking bread. What greets my nose is the stench of the privy hole next to my bed. I pray for a mountain breeze, brisk with the promise of snow, and instead the ceiling fan is churning the long used-up city air. I listen for the clucking of the hens. What I hear are the fighting voices of a man and woman in the next room. I know this is not just a nightmare I will wake up from, but perhaps if I close my eyes and fall asleep again, I can at least dream of home. Darkness. Arresting the darkness. You know, I wish this was just a one-off story in some book, but it isn't. In fact, Patricia McCormick's research indicates that 12,000 girls are being trafficked every year from Nepal to India and and to other places. 12,000. And it can be the monsoon rain that washes away their house that causes the disaster. It can be illness in the family, which requires extra money for the doctor. It can be anything that triggers this disaster, this onslaught of darkness. We've experienced it ourselves. In the case of Maya, and I've changed the name here for obvious reasons. In the case of Maya, it was an extra long, extra cold and hard winter up in Ladakh, in the mountains in the north of India. When she was sold, I just arrived in Ladakh I think it was the end of February. Every year I go at the end of winter to make sure that our programs up in Ladakh start well for the new year. We only had started the program 2 years earlier. It's a home for migrant worker children, a home that gives them a place to grow up in safety, protected, away from the labor camps where their parents work. As I arrived this spring at the end of winter, I heard that Maya had just been sold only days before I came. I have to tell you, that must have been one of the darkest moments in the years of ministry that both Karina and I have done in Nepal. Maya sold. Why? Because her family had simply not been able to make it through the winter. They had run out of resources. We didn't even know where she was sold to. Her family didn't know. They just knew that they had received an amount of money that helped them to get through the rest of the winter, and now she was gone. Later we learned that she in fact was sold to Kuwait. BBC ran an article not all that long ago, and they speak of Kuwait as the latest hellhole for Nepalese domestic workers, particularly female ones. The impact of this event for Himalayan Life was significant. We realized how important it is to arrest the darkness, particularly for the girls. And so we expanded our little home that we were running at the time from 24 children to 80 children in the span of 2 years. We took on whoever was particularly vulnerable, who was in need of a place with a special focus, of course, on the girls. And so, circling back to our new home in Pokhara, you can see how I'm grateful. You can understand why I'm so joyful about this place, this facility, for stopping the darkness in the lives of girls, particularly these girls that you have seen skipping rope and playing hula hoop. The darkness has been stopped and arrested for them for now. If technology cooperates, you are seeing in the screen in your home 2 pictures of a girl in a yellow t-shirt. It's one of the girls of whom we have just heard before from Lobsang, from Chitwan. She's one of those 35 who is being fed every day. Can you see the transformation in her face? Those 2 pictures, they were taken minutes apart. Look at the picture before and after she's receiving a meal. It's just absolutely astounding. That's transformation. It has been commented that wherever Himalayan Life works, food is being served. Meals are being served. In fact, over the span of the last 12 months, some 350,000 meals were served. It's the equivalent of $1, which makes this transformation happen from emptiness to joy, from darkness to light. Just $1. $1 is what it takes to feed a child for a day. It's well invested money, if you ask me. That's one of the reasons why Karina and I donate to Himalayan Life. Just look at the difference it makes for her. The point being, arresting the darkness often begins with food, with nourishment. Arresting the darkness continues with shelter, protection. And school, education, is also an aspect of arresting the darkness. There are other organizations who rescue girls further down that slope when they have not been able to self-arrest or being arrested as they're slipping down. I'm grateful for these organizations. I'm grateful for them who rescue girls who have been trafficked and help them to get back into a place of life after they have lost so much. To stay with the picture of arresting, they're like the helicopter with the long line doing the rescue. Himalayan Life's mandate is different. Our mandate is much further up the slope. Our mandate is to stop the tumble, stop the slide before it is too late. With food, with shelter, with education, and with love, of course. By the way, I'm very pleased to tell you that for Maya in Ladakh, the story did not end in Kuwait. After 5 dark years, her dad got a phone call from the Indian Border Agency saying that they have a girl in a holding cell which claims to be his daughter, even though she didn't have any papers. And so her dad traveled down to Delhi and he got her back. 5 weeks later, I happened to be in Ladakh again. And that Sunday, Maya's dad got up at church, and during sharing time, he told the congregation about his journey to Delhi and how he got Maya back. He is the most funny of guys, and he made us laugh, and it was a very good story. Particularly the part where he needed money to get her released from the holding cell and he didn't have money and then miraculously found a wallet in the airport. I have no idea how that happened. But at the end, he completely broke down. And in front of everybody, he was weeping and he said, "I have sold my daughter. And I'm so sorry." And Maya's story still goes on. A couple of years ago, she met a lovely young man and she got married to him. They now have a child. Somehow, she has been able to receive a lot of healing and process through what she's experienced. And if you ask her what made it possible for her to process through all that trauma that she's dealing with, she will actually point to her faith and say that it is faith that has helped her to forgive and which has helped her to get to this level of reconciliation. So, arresting the darkness. Is it complicated? No, not really. It starts with something as easy as a meal. Is it hard work? Yes, it is. Can it wait until the pandemic is over? No, it is urgent. And does the darkness on the far side of the planet, in a place as far away as Nepal, deserve our attention? Yes, it absolutely does. It is important simply on the basis of a shared humanity. We have one more stop to make on our journey tonight as we visit Himalayan Life projects across the Himalayas. I'm taking you back to Pokhara, where most of our work is focused on street children. We've talked in the past a lot about our fourfold approach to working with street children: the street kitchen, the shelter, the street to school homes, and the vocational training programs. The kitchen, where the kids first get in contact with us, or we with them, where we gain their trust, where we nourish them, where we feed them. The shelter, where they can come and find shelter. And once they're ready for transformation, the homes, the street to school homes, where they become part of the Himalayan Life family and go to school. Or for the bigger boys, the vocational training, where they can learn skills, life skills, because for them, going back to school wouldn't be possible. For the younger kids, let's say up to 12 years old, this approach is very, very effective. I would also say that for the older kids, until about 2 years ago, the approach has been quite effective. But something has changed over the past 2 years, particularly for the bigger kids. I think it has to do with the fact that they are better organized in their gangs. Better organized meaning they have more access to resources. And so, by resources, I probably mean mostly theft. And so they have also, unfortunately, more access to substances and drugs. And this has resulted in less transformation that we're seeing among the bigger boys. They still come to the kitchen, not all the time, but they come. Particularly when they're desperate, they still come to the shelter, particularly to sober up and get cleaned up. And our staff are very, very good at doing this work with them, at cleaning them up and helping them to get back on their feet. But we're not seeing the transformation that we're dreaming of and that we so much long for to see in their lives. So the dream has begun to evolve in some of our staff's hearts and minds, the vision of a place where we can take care of those bigger boys 24/7. A place outside the city, somewhat away from the lure of the street. A place for the boys to heal, to recover from their enormous trauma that they are dealing with. A place to learn and to acquire skills. I'm very pleased to tell you that right now we are running a trial phase for what we have come to call the Life Transformation Center for those bigger street boys. We have found a place outside the city that we are renting at this point, where we presently have some of the boys in this trial phase and starting to work with them in this fresh way. But rather than me telling you all about this, why don't we let Janman, our project manager from Pokhara, talk about it in yet another field report that we are playing for you right now.
Hello, namaste, dear friends. I'm Janman from Pokhara, Nepal. About our street boys, we had a very good time for them to be together. Every day we visited them. In the beginning, we support them, grocery things. After that, we cooked here food and bring to the street. And we had a very good time to share the life and also how to be safe and how to learn good things on that situation also. We started LTC, Life Transformation Center. Around 30 children were in the street. 24 boys, we brought them there. And now we have a 16 boys there. Our main aim to build up them in holistic way. Physically, emotionally, creatively, socially, spiritually. We want to build up them. And our aim is to make them skillful person and good behavior person. We feel very strong. Thank you so much for your prayer. Thank you so much for your back support. Thank you for your loving heart. Thank you.
the question has come up whether we could talk a little bit about plans, what we're planning to do next year. And I think that's an excellent question, because it seems to me that beside everything else, COVID is threatening us with paralysis. We're all struggling to make plans, and yet plan we must. So I'm happy to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the things that we're wanting to do and planning to do next year. Maybe 3 things here. First of all, I'm planning to go back to Nepal in March. I hope it will be possible. Why in March? Because that's the end of the cold season and we can all meet outdoors and have conversations with program managers and staff outdoors, and so make inroads into the next steps. Secondly, in Yangri, we're planning to get started on Campus 2. Now that's exciting. Over the past 4 years, as Heidi has already told us, we have developed the first campus, the elementary school campus for the Yangri Academic Center. It is mostly complete by now. We have all the classrooms, the library, the dorms, the dining area, the play fields, everything is there. We still want to build a playground. We need to work on wastewater management, and we need to do some river embankment work, but otherwise it's complete. However, we only have 18 more months until the first class graduates from elementary school, and so we need a high school campus. Now, I'm super pleased to tell you that we have received a donation, a designated donation for buying land for Campus 2, for the high school campus. And so we're in the process now of looking for land that's suitable for this purpose. Of course, our program manager, Sonam, being a Sherpa, a man of the mountains, he's trying to find land not down in the valley, but up on the hills. Let's see what transpires. The plan would be that once we have the land, we start slowly to develop it so that by April 2022, we can have the first high school class on that new campus. And as a third point, I've been talking a little bit about the Life Transformation Center, as has Chitwan. If that trial phase that we're in right now is going well, we really hope to further develop this program, add elements to help these young men and boys on their journey from not life to life, dealing with their trauma and acquiring skills that will equip them for living the way they're designed to live and live well. And with that, I hand the floor back to you, Heidi.
Wow. Since I've been involved with Himalayan Life year after year, I am blown away by the work that they accomplish annually. Thank you for joining us tonight for this annual report. Thank you for being involved and for being generous. I mentioned earlier that our goal tonight, not tonight, or throughout this Arresting the Darkness campaign, is to raise $250,000. I mentioned that there's a group of generous donors who have agreed to match up to $125,000. And on top of that, we've already received a gift of $50,000. That leaves us with $75,000 left in this campaign. Thank you for your generous donations. Thank you for your support. Thank you for hitting that donation button. Thank you for helping us and Daniel and the team who's doing this challenging work on the ground in Nepal continue to do these great things. Your support is so meaningful. And tonight, the team in Nepal has sent a message to also help communicate just that.
Thank you so much for your continuous prayer, your encouragement, and your support.
Thank you.
Thank you also.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chonmon, Team Canada.
And so again, thank you for being here. We really encourage you to stay connected with the work of Himalayan Life. There's always so much happening. Follow us on social media, sign up for our emails on the website, and here's some other ways you can get involved. One way is through purchasing Level Ground coffee. When you buy Level Ground coffee, they support Himalayan Life. Another way to get involved is through accessing their Gifts of Life catalog through the Himalayan Life website. Every December, Himalayan Life issues this catalog and invites you to purchase these gifts. And third, if you think that a trip to Nepal would be a trip of a lifetime, it will be. And we encourage you to book through Himalayan Life Adventures on their most recently planned trip to base camp on Everest. On this journey, our favorite Sherpas, one already mentioned, Sonam and Ferpa, will be guiding the expedition, and the finale will be at the Yangri Academic Center in the Yangri Valley. More information about all of these things are on our website, and again, thank you so much for your support.